The Sportsman XPs were first introduced in 2009 and gave the Sportsman several very important new features. One is the new longitudinal engine and the CVT transmission that made the whole ATV much smoother in its operation. Now, also helping to make the XP feel more stable was the repositioning of the fuel tank lower into the frame. The handling was also much improved with a change to an A-arm design on the front and a revised rear suspension. Now, add in the slightly longer wheelbase of the two-seat touring model. That adds another 4 inches that gives the Sportsman a total wheelbase of 57 inches. This gives the machine a much more stable platform for riding up and down those steeper climbs as well as across the side hills. The Sportsman touring models offer the best of both worlds because within minutes you can have either a comfortable two-seat ATV or an incredibly stable single-seat ATV. The front suspension has dual A-arms that provide a full 9 inches of wheel travel. Now, as compared to struts, the A-arms give the XP a much better controlled wheel travel with less camber gain as it moves up through its travel. Now, in addition, the front arms have also been designed with less offset to the wheels so that the center of the wheel and the tire is located at the center of the steering geometry. This results in less kickback through the handlebars when hitting uneven terrain or rocks and bumps with the tire. On the rear, the XP's A-arms have what is referred to as roll. Now, this means that the arms mounting points are angled so that the rear tires move slightly rearward as they move upward, thus making the upward travel of the wheel and tire a less abrupt movement when hitting obstacles. The rear suspension has 10 1/4 inches of travel, and there are preload adjustable shocks on both the front and the rear. The longitudinally mounted, single overhead cam 850cc twin-cylinder engine is fuel-injected for easy starting and smooth running at any elevation or weather condition. And rated at 71 horsepower, the 850 has more than enough power for any situation. Now, because the engine is mounted longitudinally, means that the CVT transmission now sits behind the engine rather than alongside it. And that arrangement makes the XP a whopping 8 inches narrower than the older standard Sportsman. Now, both the engine and transmission are rubber mounted in the round tubing double cradle frame for less vibration and noise transfer up through the frame to the rider. The battery, fuses, and radiator are all located under the pop-off front box with the terminals within easy reach for checking, charging, or just attaching a float charger. The air filter is located under a cover where the fuel tank used to be and can be easily accessed by removing the seat. The 5 1/4 gallon fuel tank has now been moved lower and in front of the engine cylinder, and all this helps to centralize and lower the main weight of the Sportsman. Again, all in an effect to make it handle better and be more responsive and nimble to maneuver in the more difficult terrain. The gauges include an analog speedometer along with a digital odometer, tachometer, 2 trip odometers, hour meter, clock, gear indicator, fuel gauge, and warning lights for temperature and battery condition, all selectable via a yellow button on the left handlebar. Electric power steering is now standard on all touring models. And while the value of power steering can be argued on most ATVs, the addition of EPS on a two-seat ATV is an unequivocal asset when riding double in tough terrain. The good? We think the Tourings, with their extended wheelbase, are just great-looking ATVs and unbelievably stable in difficult situations. The narrower XP design is also a plus. The ADC provides engine braking to all 4 wheels and allows the all-wheel drive to work in reverse without having to push any buttons. And we also like the nice front storage area that opens toward the rider for easy access. The bad? Like every Polaris, the XP takes far too many revs to get it moving, and the power steering is overpowered and lacks any feeling. The composite racks make fastening miscellaneous stuff like fuel packs pretty difficult, and although we still dislike single lever braking to all 4 wheels, that takes a backseat to the rear wheel only engine braking in the what were they thinking category. Another huge problem for us was that even in all-wheel drive and going downhill with the ADC system switched on, the whole process gets thrown away if you use the foot brake. All of a sudden, the ADC forgets its job, and once again, you have all of the slowing and stopping power going only to the rear wheels. It's both weird and scary. The bottom line, Polaris ATVs just keep getting better all the time, and we think that the new Touring is still the best two-seat ATV you can buy. But like every Polaris, you have to overlook their strange all-wheel drive setup and its effect on deceleration and braking.